Hey, you. Is this what you look like when you play high-tier air? Don't worry, you're not alone, and Papa Zinaholic is going to help you out. A large number of people who get into War Thunder just want to play the newest and baddest thing. But for air, a lot of people don't understand how missiles and missile functionalities actually work. So today, I want to present to you the fundamentals of missile defense. What I teach you in this video will help you in realistic and simulator battles. Arcade is going to be a little different because the maps are so small, but I would highly recommend you just start transitioning over to realistic or simulator battles. Now, throughout this video, I will be going fairly slow compared to my usual style in order to have this be digestible by you, but also I'm going to be breaking it down Barney style so even your mom could understand these concepts. So before we get into this, I just want to give a big thank you to my good friend Bean Turtle for helping me record this video. These clips would not have happened if it weren't for him, so make sure you go subscribe to him. Make sure to tell him that Zin sent you. Some keybinds you will absolutely need in order to defend for yourself is fire countermeasures. This is what's going to actually pop off your actual countermeasures so that you can protect yourself. And you want to make sure that your movement keys are bound so that you don't just use mouse for aim. And that's all the keybinds you need in order to just protect yourself. It's literally that easy. The only caveat with countermeasures is make sure that it is easily accessible. Don't have it be multiple keys. I have it just on my mouse. So that makes it very easy for me to fire them off when I need them. Okay, this is going to seem a little unintuitive because Fox 2s are the first thing that we'll talk about, but it's also the first missile you'll get in the tech tree. And they're also the simplest of missiles. So Fox 2 missiles can come in many different shapes and forms, and early ones are the easiest ones to defend against, but some of the more advanced ones can be a little bit tricky to defend. So we're going to be referring to these drawings for a lot of the concepts here. Now, a lot of these Fox 2s usually have a range of about 1 to 4 miles. I will have kilometers on the screen here for you people who are non-freedom lovers, but there are some variants that do have some longer ranges. A little editor's note here, I am dog shit at animating things, so this is going to be really, really bad, but it's just to illustrate the concept. So I'm not a Kane Parsons, and I can't make backrooms level animations, so you're going to have to deal with this. So the rule of thumb you're going to want to use for IR missiles is turn and flare. Now you may be asking, what's a flare? Well, a flare is literally just a high heat source that's shot out of an aircraft as a countermeasure to trick infrared seekers. So in this scenario, and all these scenarios, we are going to be playing as the F-15 on the left, and the enemy is going to be the Eurofighter on the right. So, oh no, the Eurofighter has launched on us. Now, all you have to do is just look for this symbol, and that's how you'll know that a missile is being fired at you, but we'll be looking at it through this image, and we'll have the actual missile itself. So the first thing we want to do in this scenario is start our turn. So you'll start to get turning, and if you have your afterburner on, indicated by the flame, you want to cut that out as soon as possible. As we're turning here, we also want to be popping flares. So you want to do these in about 3 per second, and this is going to give you the best chance of surviving an infrared missile. Now, when I say 3 per second, I don't mean you're doing this over a 5-second period and you're going to be wasting a ton of flares. You only have to do this once or twice, and you should be able to defend yourself against this missile. Now remember to keep turning as you're flaring. This is going to prevent the missile from hitting you even more because some missiles can't pull that hard, but also it's going to show your cold airframe instead of your insanely hot engines. This is a tactic you should get very familiar with very quickly, as higher tier missiles, this is going to be your only way to defend against them. This is also assuming that the missile is being fired from directly behind you. If it's a front aspect shot or even a little bit more of an all aspect shot, they'll usually be defeated with just one single flare, but the rear aspect shots tend to be the hardest ones to defend. Some things with IR missiles is that you want to be always looking behind you and above you. People will tend to stealth kill you from way up in space, so you want to be looking up because I do this a lot because it's a lot of free kills usually. Another thing a lot of higher tier people will do is they'll get a radar lock on you so that you think it's a radar missile coming in, so you'll try to stay low and try to multipath it, whatever, and then you'll see here, I killed Bean with an IR missile because I had a radar lock on him. He thought that I was firing a radar missile at him. One more thing to consider, though, is NATO-built aircrafts like the F-4, the F-15, F-18, for example, will shoot their flares downward. This makes it very easy in order to defend yourself against IR missiles. But a lot of the Russian and Chinese-built aircraft will shoot their flares upward. This will require you to pull positive Gs in order to actually defend yourself against even simple missiles. But that's the basics of defending yourself against infrared missiles. These are the easiest missiles, but I have some takeaways for you. Make sure to watch behind you. You want to stay as cold as you possibly can to the missile, and you want to use flares accordingly based on your BR and your flare count. So obviously, if you're at a lower BR where you only get 15, 30 countermeasures, you may only need one flare in order to defend yourself. Meanwhile, at higher tiers, when you get 640, you're probably going to need a lot more. So as we start to get into Fox 1 missiles, this is going to be where your knowledge actually affects your play. So these are known as SAR missiles, also known as semi-active radar homing. Now, remember when I said that I was going to break this down so even your mom could understand these concepts? Well, this is what SAR actually does. So basically, the missile is going to rely on your radar indication in order to guide it to a target. So if you see in this image right here, you don't have to do any of the work in order to guide this missile in. The radar is going to do it for you. It will do all the math and all the calculations for you. All you have to do is maintain that lock. Now, one of the downsides of SARs is that whoever you are firing at, or if you are being fired upon, you will always know that something is coming toward you as long as you're in the range of your RWR. And now I have to explain what an RWR is because, again, your mom has to be able to understand these. So an RWR is a radar warning receiver. If you ever heard this sound, that is your radar warning receiver. So you can think about it this way. The less you hear, the less danger you're in. So if you're just hearing the occasional beeps, it means that someone is seeing you on their radar. If you start to hear it getting a little faster, they're starting to track you. If it starts freaking out, it means a missile's been fired at you. So that's a good way to think about it is, hey, I'm not in danger, I'm not hearing much. So now let's start to go into some ways to defend against Fox 1 missiles. Personally, I would say the number one way to prevent these Fox 1s from hitting you is to notch. Now, I know what you're saying, what the heck is notching? So what you are trying to do with notching is you want to try to get a 0% closure rate, so they won't close in on you, and you have no relative speed compared to the aircraft that is firing on you. While you are in a notch, you're going to have to dump chaff. Now, what is chaff? Chaff are just little tiny shredded up pieces of metal that are flung into the air, and that allows a radar to track that instead of you because, hey, it's something over here. There's actually something there versus you, who you've disappeared because you have no closure rate. So if we look at this diagram, in number 1, the missile's coming just for you. As you start to dump that chaff, it's starting to look at that chaff a little bit more. And as a larger and larger cloud starts to appear, it's going to start moving over there because, hey, this is a bigger target now. But now let's draw out how this looks. So just like last time, we will be the F-15 and we are going to be defending against this Fox 1 missile. So as we're flying along, we start to hear this. So he's now locked us. So we want to prevent him from firing, but oh no, he's already fired. So at this point, our goal is to fly 90 degrees from the direction that he is coming from. So we've started our turn now, and around the 45 degree point, you can start to dump some chaff. But our goal is to get a perfect 90 degrees from him. You can go as far as about 110 degrees, but 90 degrees is going to be about perfect, so then you still have time to re-engage if you need to. Now, this is going to usually be beyond visual range, so how do you know that you're there? If you look at your RWR and see this indication, that's a good sign. At this point, when you start to drop chaff, the missile will not know where to go, and it's going to start going for your chaff. So, congratulations, you've now completed a notch. Now, this is going to be dependent on two things: if you're at a high altitude, and also if you're at a very far range. The next strategy that you can use is to stay low. So, usually with SAR missiles, these are going to be the earlier variants of radar missiles, so usually not too great of radars either. So, the reason why staying low works is just like how they say in Top Gun Maverick.
We gotta get low. The terrain will confuse his targeting system.
Now, you're not going to be flying at the altitude that they do in that movie, but when you fly low, you start to create ground clutter, which is where the radar can't distinguish your aircraft between all of the terrain around it. As you'll see here, I'm having a very difficult time trying to lock Bean Turtle because he's flying low to the ground. The only reason why I get a lock on him is because he flies up, but at this point, I'm too close in order to launch a SAR missile, so I have to wait for us to come around before I can even get the actual lock again. And then, of course, once I'm back on his tail, I can't get the lock because he's too low to the ground. My radar is not powerful enough. And this is a 12.0 Phantom. This is one of the better Phantoms in the game. But I just can't get the lock because he's flying too low. And you'll see also that the radar will pull downward toward the ground because there's so much clutter there. But this is going to be your best defense in the 10.0 to 12.0 battle rating area because a lot of the radars are not that good. So flying low is a great strategy, but flying high, you'll be able to stealth kill some more people with the IR missiles, kind of like how I said during the IR missile portion. And an absolute last-ditch scenario, if you don't have any countermeasures or anything, run. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean you're going to stay very low to the ground, you're going to have full afterburner, so you'll be full tilt like a Peterbilt. So what this will do is, if someone decides that they want to chase after you because, hey, you're a free target, they're going to have to, first of all, work for it, but you're going to minimize the closure rate between yourself and the enemy, and chances are his radar missile won't be able to track, so it's going to go straight into the dirt. And also make sure while you're running, if there are hills like the clips you've seen in this video, use them to your advantage. Fly over them and get down so then the radar lock is broken, and once it's broken once, they won't be able to reestablish that lock most of the time. Now for our Fox 1 takeaways. They can be easily defeated by using terrain to your advantage, and you want to remove a lock as soon as possible by notching it if you're playing up high, and run as fast as possible if the enemy is chasing you. Don't do turns, but if you can make them overshoot, go for it, go get the gun kill. Hey Willow. Willow. Who's a good kitty? Who's a very good kitty? Who's a good helper with editing? Alright, so this category is a little weird because there's only technically 3 categories, but there is kind of a 4th one, and that's the baby active radar homing missiles. All things considered, these things are kind of rare. They're only on certain aircraft. The Russians have a lot of these, but they're mostly the R-27 family, and some F-18s will have them with the AIM-7P. The big difference between these and SAR missiles is that they have data link and inertial guidance. So if an enemy loses lock of you, as long as they relock you before the missile is past you, they could still hit you. These missiles still require a hard lock in order to launch them. So unlike AMRAAMs and other types of Fox 3 missiles that won't require a hard lock where you could just use TWS, you will still know when someone fires on you or if they are. My advice, go through other aircraft around this battle rating that you're playing and make sure you know what exactly you're going to be facing. So then you can try to stay away from certain aircraft that are going to be harder or easier to fight against. As for strategies in order to defeat these missiles, it's kind of just the same thing as standard SAR missiles, but a lot of the planes that will use these will have more powerful radars, so you may not be able to just fly low and be able to defeat it. Now, if you do still want to fly low, because that method works for you, you will have to stay under 90 feet, or that's 30 meters of altitude. And I will go more in depth on this once I get to the Fox 3 area, because these are basically baby Fox 3 missiles, so stay tuned for that, and we'll get to there once we get there. My best advice for defeating these missiles is use terrain to your advantage. If you know there's hills or mountains and one of these planes that has these is launching on you, use that to your advantage. Try to remove that radar lock, or if you're up high, stay in the notch for an extra 5 to 10 seconds and you should be safe, so then they can't relock it very fast. They'll probably get bored and just forget you ever existed. But my big takeaways for the baby Fox 3s, do not get overconfident. Just because you notched a missile successfully doesn't mean that someone can just relock you and then voila, you're dead. Ground clutter won't always save you against these missiles either. Just because it worked in the past when you were doing lower battle rating stuff or where these missiles weren't present doesn't mean it'll save you when you're playing against them. Now, if you fly that low, like how I said, the 90 feet or 30 meters, you should be pretty safe. But they can still top down kill you or splash kill you. If there's enough range, just do some notching or some multipathing, try to wipe that missile of any energy or try to wipe that radar lock as much as you can. Use that terrain to your advantage so that the missile will hit the terrain or it'll just forget where you are. Now we get to talk about the big guys, the active radar homing missiles. Now you will almost exclusively see these missiles around the top tier brackets, anywhere between 12.7 all the way up to 14.7. What makes these different from standard Fox 1 missiles is that your radar doesn't have to have an indication on a target the entire flight of the missile. So now let's go back into the drawing and explain how these missiles actually operate. Just like last time, we're going to be the F-15 and the aggressor will be the Typhoon on the right. So let's say we're at this kind of range, 23 miles. This will give the missile plenty of flight time for this scenario. Once this Typhoon actually launches on us, the missile will be in what's called a terminal phase. So the terminal phase just means that the missile is being guided via the aircraft's radar, just like the standard Fox 1 missiles, except he doesn't have to hold a lock, he can just have you up on his track while scan. What we want to try to do is to prevent this missile from going into a bulldog state. Now, what does this missile going bulldog have to do with anything? That just means that the enemy aircraft no longer even has to have you on radar in order to hit you. Every aircraft and every type of missile has a different bulldog state. It's all dependent on how it's made. So for this, we're just going to say that this yellow dashed line is the crossing point of when the missile will actually go bulldog. So just like how I explained notching while I was talking about Fox 1s, this is going to be your best defense when you're up high, but also when you're down low, so that the radar will lose you before the missile goes bulldog and starts looking for you. But now what happens when the missile's active radar homing turns on and the missile has then gone bulldog? So at this point, if the missile has already gone bulldog, if you're low to the ground, you want to stay as low to the ground as possible, but you might want to look out. He knows you're there. In order for staying low to actually work, you'll have to stay within 30 meters of the ground or 90 feet of the ground. So this is only really going to work on flat maps like Afghanistan or maps where there's water, like Denmark, for example. So it's really easy to fly that low and avoid these radar missiles. Now, if you're playing up high and a missile has already gone bulldog on you, one of two outcomes is going to happen. Either A, you're not going to be able to turn and you're going to get wiped, or B, you are in something that is maneuverable enough where you might be able to notch it just in time, but it's very unlikely. So if you can avoid the bulldog scenario as much as possible, I would recommend doing that. Now, if you are the type of person who wants to fly low and defend against missiles, that's fine. But just know you're going to be having people above you shooting at you. So top downing may happen, but there are some scenarios that you can win against these missiles. Now, if you're already low to the ground, but you're already inside of a bulldog range if someone were to launch on you, and someone is higher than you, guess what? You have the advantage. You can launch a missile at them, and they're probably going to launch one back at you. Make sure you get down on the ground as fast as possible or behind terrain, so then that missile will hit that. If the guy's up high, he probably won't be able to have time in order to defend against it. So that's going to be another great strategy in order to defend, but it's not always great because a lot of people will just IR missile you from above. Now, if a missile's coming from a very long range, like since the F-14D is now on sale, you can always try to multipath a missile. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a lot of like 90-degree turns, and you're maintaining this throughout a very long distance, and that will make the missile just run out of energy and it will never come close to hitting you. I don't really recommend this. I haven't had great luck with it, but if you want to try it and tell me if it works for you, that's great. I would love to know. There's also a method called cranking, but this is more an offensive thing instead of a defensive thing. So if you guys want to see an offensive guide on these missiles, let me know in the comments. I would love to know if you guys want that, and I would gladly make it because making this video has been kind of fun. This has also been a really high effort video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But those are the basics of missile defense. In all honesty, it's not that hard. It's going to take a little bit of practice in order to get into it. I know for me, I always said that notching doesn't work, but then I started doing more of it, especially when Nuclear Thunder first came out, and I got really, really good at it. So if you're wanting this to work, you're going to have to put some work in. Your KD might suffer a little bit, but start working with this. If you see like the clip behind my voice right now, you'll see that Beam Turtle and I were just kind of messing around, and we were having a good time with it. That's a great way to practice notching and everything. I wouldn't recommend a small map like what we have, but get some practice in before you actually start using these in real battles. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this. If you watched through the whole video, you're an absolute legend. We're really close to getting monetized, so that's going to be really cool. So I really appreciate you guys watching this. Make sure to stay for a little bit longer. It's not over quite yet because we have some B-roll footage that was just so funny that you guys have to watch this, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And I have to say it, make sure to like and subscribe. If this video actually helped you in any way, please leave me a comment saying, hey, thank you. This is what I got from this, and this is how I'm playing better now. I would really appreciate it. Okay. I'm done yapping now. Time for the B-roll. Hit it. This is going to be a good one.
Tech mechanization.
What? No way! That 120C that went off into nowhere somehow came back?
It did a 180!
No fucking... Dude, that's going in the bloopers. That's 100%. Pretty well, actually.
Yeah, I need to turn in more. That's the ground. Damn it.
Got him!
That's the ground.
Got him, I guess.
I mean, hey, maneuver kills are a thing. That's such a cool skin.
Did you get this skin?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Okay,
I
good.
got both of them. I got everything but the boat skin.
I might,
You could launch on me immediately, and I have enough time to do something, I think.
indeed. Hard lock.
Maybe. Yep. Another one? Damn. Bro does not like me. Damn.
It's a 9M.
You can use that. No, that's perfect for
Yeah, that's actually
the
perfect.
trick thing.